Call this full board meeting for November 23rd, 2022 to order. Please rise. First time is Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Item number three is the invocation by Commissioner Haugh.
Thank you, Chair. Please bow your heads. Dear Lord, today we remember the Apostle Paul's writing to the Christians in Rome and his teaching that those in authority are first and foremost your servants, that honoring you and doing your will is our highest purpose. And we so pray that you would be glorified today through the decisions of the Board of Commissioners and have us remember during this time of Thanksgiving all that we should be thankful for. In Jesus' name I say, amen.
Amen. Thank you, Commissioner Haugh. Item 4 is adoption of the agenda. Can I have a motion?
Romano adopts the agenda.
Support Van Sickle.
Any discussion? Please vote.
Motion passes 12-0.
Thank you. Item 5 is approval of the minutes from items 5A and C. Can I have a motion?
Support Van.
Any discussion on the minutes? Any additions or corrections? Hearing none, please vote.
Motion passes 12-0.
Thank you. Item 6 is public participation. This is the first opportunity for public participation for those who wish to speak for a maximum of 3 minutes on any item on today's agenda. There'll be a second opportunity for public participation for those who wish to speak on any issue at the end of the agenda. Is there anyone from public who wishes to be heard? Mr. McKinnon, you have the floor for 3 minutes.
Thank you very much, Chairman, and I appreciate the 3 minutes. First and foremost, I want to wish a happy birthday to Commissioner Haugh. I understand it's his birthday today and a beautiful invocation. We appreciate that today. I wanted to mention that I think the toughest work that you all do is this work that you're doing today and that you've been doing this week. The budget is a process, as you all know, of infinite wants with finite resources. And those infinite wants will come and come and come and come and come and come and come. And I understand that, and I understand that that's a very difficult thing for you all to deal with, and I appreciate the hard work that you put into it. One of the things that I think we've been doing a much better job with this iteration of the Board of Commissioners is communication. I think that that's something that is a ship that never sails into port, but we can always be doing better on communication. There was a statement earlier this week that I just wanted to put some clarity to, and it came from Commissioner Kraft, with all due respect to Commissioner Kraft, where he had commented that the More Than a Job campaign was a little bit redundant because we have resources for advertising for our jobs elsewhere within the county budget. And it's my understanding that we may in some place like CMH, but in emergency management or equalization, they can't even spend a couple $100s to amplify a job posting on LinkedIn or something else like that. So that More Than a Job campaign really does garner all of our county together and sort of raises up our people and shows that the work that we do here really is more than a job. It really, for many, it is a calling, and you do get to serve your community, which is so nice. And you'll hear from some other folks on that. Also, the animal control position, the refunding of that. Chief Randazzo did sacrifice that a couple years ago while we were worried about budgetary problems during the COVID pandemic at the very early part, and he left that open for a while. So we have seen some additional savings from that I would personally ask that be reconsidered, because they certainly can use the help over there. One thing that I've heard from this board, and I am so extremely excited about it, Commissioner Zinner and Commissioner Song, you consistently talk about compensation for our employees here in the county. We have been working incredibly hard at that. I'd like to just for a second talk about our public safety officers. Since 2018, and beginning on January 1st of 2023, our public safety officers are 29% better paid than they were in 2018. I think that's a significant increase, and we continue to work away at that, and we hope to do some more for them in the very near future. That's actually deputies and dispatchers. Our corrections officers are 16% better paid, 16% better paid 1/1 of 23 than they were on 1/1 of 19. So again, exciting work that we've been able to do, but again, with those infinite wants and the finite resources, we do have to prioritize. Do we want that money going to our employees? Do we want that money going to tuck pointing? Do we want that money going to a new sheriff's cruiser? You know, those are all valid, reasonable, and important wants, and you all have to try to focus on that. So I would ask for a reconsideration of the More Than a Job campaign. That countywide training budget is incredibly important to us in the Animal Control Department. All the other asks, again, are valid, but those are three that I wanted to point out, and I'm sure you're going to hear more from our staff.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Commissioner, and have a wonderful Thanksgiving to you all.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to be heard under any item on this agenda?
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Wendy Dzenski. I am an Office Assistant Senior for Macomb County Animal Control and a registered county voter. In the almost 5 years as an animal control employee, I've fostered over 150 sick, injured, bottle baby kittens in my home, nursing them back to health. I love all animals, but I'm very passionate about cats. I participate in the SNR programs that we offer to our county residents, your county residents, which helps reduce the amount of cats in our community by getting them spayed, neutered, and released back into the community. I'm respectfully asking the board to postpone and reconsider the decision to defund the position at Animal Control. This position, if defunded, will have a negative impact on the lives of the community cats and their caretakers in our county. This year alone, we have TNR'd 641 community cats to date. A grant that we received this year allowed 400 Macomb County residents to participate in TNRing community cats. 400. That's a big number. I don't know if you guys know, I'm going to give you a couple of numbers. One unfixed female can have 3 litters a year, producing 4 to 6 kittens, who then will start having their own kittens at about 6 months of age. The results of defunding this position and not allowing us to get grants to continue this great program that we have is going to be detrimental and twofold. The cats will start to reproduce exponentially, and many will suffer and die needless deaths. I'm not sure if any of you have held a kitten in your arms and watched it take its last breath, but I have. It's not pleasant. Before we started TNR at Macomb County Animal Control, our youth rate for cats coming in was in the mid 85%. Since we've started the TNR, our youth rate now hovers around 5%. Those programs are so incredibly important to us at Animal Control. We're also a leader in Michigan with regards to TNR. Other counties reach out to us consistently to learn about our program when they're trying to implement those programs in their shelters. We want to continue this great program and continue to apply for grants to help our cats and residents. We need this position. Again, we're asking you to reconsider defunding this critical position for Animal Control and the county and all the county residents in Macomb County. Thank you for your time today. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Anyone else wish to be heard under public participation?
How are you doing? I am Deputy Brandon Davis. I'm the lead deputy over at Macomb County Animal Control. I'm a registered voter in the city of St. Clair Shores and a member of this county. I would like to start off by saying thank you all for giving me the opportunity to speak today and my opportunity to defend the position that is being defunded. So I personally, being the lead deputy, get to experience quite a bit when it comes to community outreach and training other organizations within the state that do look at Macomb County Animal Control as sort of the top dog, no pun intended, top dog in the state when it comes to it. Okay, so these are things that we are only able to accomplish and succeed in with the help of grants. And without the position that is able to secure us these grants, we are going to take a substantial hit when it comes to being able to reach out to and working with departments all the way up from Traverse City, all the way, we're starting with Detroit Animal Control on Monday after the holiday break. January 1, we are working with Oakland University, their criminal justice program, for those who are interested in learning animal law. This is all things that we are only able to accomplish with grant funding. The biggest thing that I feel, at least it is the most important to me, especially being in the areas that I patrol, are our pet retention grants. And these are specifically to help low-income families maintain their animals, whether, especially during the COVID outbreak, and people just having a hard time right now financially. They're not able to afford, whether it's vet care or food or anything along those lines for their animals. This grant that we are able to secure helps us help the community keep their animals healthy. And that's what's most important to me. I don't do this job for the badge. I do this job for my love of animals. I do this job for my love of the people. And when a decrease in personnel and a defunding of a position that is so crucial for one of the smallest organizations in Macomb County, when that's even considered, there was not a single chance that I wasn't going to step up here today and speak my 2 cents on it. I respect you all. I'm just here to ask that you take a second thought on your stance on it. You all have a happy Thanksgiving, and I look forward to your reconsideration.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else wish to be heard under public participation? You have 3 minutes.
Hello. My name is Ashley Sanchez. I am your Macomb County Animal Control Deputy of over 2 years. I came from Detroit Animal Care and Control, and it was a stepping stone to get to the ultimate goal of becoming part of Macomb County. Detroit and Macomb are night and day. It's because of the life-saving programs and resources that the residents and that life-saving programs and resources the residents have that are provided by MCAC through grants. Without this position filled, not only will animals be hurt, but so will the Macomb County residents. While this may just be a line item on the budget, the long-term ramifications of this decrease of personnel are numerous and detrimental to the residents of Macomb County. As a result of this decrease to our budget, we lose the ability to provide a resource for residents that help keep them with their pets of times of financial hardship and veterinary emergencies. We will also lose the ability to provide emergency veterinary care for stray animals in hopes of reuniting them with their families. I'm a vet tech. I can't tell you how many times I pick up animals that are in the middle of the night because we're on call and they've been hit by a car and we don't know where the owners are at. But we have to rush them to emergency medicine just as we would a human. But we get to help them rather than euthanizing them right on the spot. And it's because of the funds that we have. And we reunite them with the owners, thankfully, usually within 24 hours. Without these programs and these critical funds, we will see an increase in surrendered animals and, sadly, an increase in the number of animals euthanized for no good reason. This will set us back and inhibit our ability to do what residents beg us to do, which is save lives. Animal control needs these funds to move forward, save lives, and provide the highest quality services that our residents deserve. Please help us do this by reinstating our full budget. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Anyone else wish to be heard under public comment?
Hi, thank you for hearing me. My name is Jennifer. I've worked with Macomb County for 5 years. I've had about almost 23 years in the field. And I just want to say briefly that when I tell people what I do for a living, the most frequently asked question I get is, how do you do that? I could never do that. I couldn't do what you do. I do it because I see progress. Every year, every day, something gets better. And I just want you to consider that anything you take away directly affects what could be gained. I have to euthanize animals. It's part of my job. but I do less and less and less. And it's these programs, it's the funding, and it's what we're talking about today that is directly responsible for my ability to euthanize less. And so I just appreciate that you would consider not taking that from us, please. I know we're a very pet-loving community. I'm from Chesterfield, formerly St. Clair Shores, and everyone cares, and we need this. We're not asking for more, we're asking not to be taken away from, right? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else under public participation wish to be heard?
Good afternoon, Commissioners, and happy birthday, Commissioner Haugh. I would say I'm Chief Randazzo. I'm the Director of the Macomb County Animal Control Division and a registered voter here in St. Clair Shores. I am asking you today to please reconsider decreasing the personnel at our county animal control facility. This was an existing position. This is not a request for a new position. I just want to take a moment to remind people that before me coming on board in 2013, this boardroom on many occasions was filled with residents and protesters demanding change. And in 2012, Macomb County Animal Control was the worst animal control division in the state next to Detroit, with a save rate of less than 20%. In 2013, with the support of the county executive team, we pledged to change that and implement life-saving programs for animals in our care and in your communities. We achieved that goal through all our hard work and dedication from every one of those people you see sitting right there. We launched the first countywide TNR program in the entire state, secured grant funding to support our pet retention grant, paying up to $500 per pet for medical needs, diverting every one of those animals from coming into animal control and surrendered to our facility. In 2022 alone, we transferred 271 animals out of this building. Several of those people drove those animals in their own time, in their own vehicles. Jen, the one that just got up here and talked, her own mother drove with her to Traverse City and to Kent County. We also strengthened our community relationships. As you heard, we Monday are starting to train Detroit animal control officers. We have trained Oakland County, Genesee, St. Clair, and then January 1, we're going to start outreach programs with Oakland University Criminal Justice Program. Currently, we have a 93% save rate, so that you no longer have to hide or be embarrassed of your animal control, nor do we. We're proud of it. We sink everything we have into this facility. We are now the role model for the state. Your animal control staff trains animal control departments throughout the entire state. We teamed up with Michigan State University, where we have a program where we're training other animal control divisions in live animal and livestock, which is something we want to do for our new building. But all of this is made possible because of the dedication of this staff at your animal control department. It's important to know that if this position is defunded, there's going to be a reduction in services. And it's going to be an unfortunate situation not only for your residents, but for the animals that come into our care. Lastly, for my staff and I, this is personal. This is the only department that I can think of that is making life and death decisions on whether or not there is grant funding to help subsidize our families in low-income homes that have pets that need medical care, and for those stray and unwanted animals, for animals that are being evicted, and we see more and more of it in 2022. I'm asking you to please reconsider defunding that position. Thank you, and I appreciate all of you.
Thank you, Chief. Anyone else wish to be heard under public participation?
Good afternoon, Commissioners. I wrote this down because normally something that I feel passionately about, I kind of go all over the place, so forgive me for reading it. But my name is Jim Andenoff, and I have pretty much lived in Macomb County my whole life. Born in Grosse Pointe, grew up in Warren, and purchased my first home in Warren. Moved to Richmond 26 years ago and have been there ever since. Worked for the city of Warren for 3 years, followed by 24 years at the Sterling Heights Fire Department, retiring as a battalion chief. However, this is not about me, but I believe it's important for you to know that I have at least a little knowledge on how the local and county government system works. This is about and for the employees sitting back here and all the living creatures that depend on these employees to take care of them and try and provide the best possible situations in not so favorable conditions, and hopefully provide positive outcomes for every living creature that comes and goes through the doors at the shelter. How many of you know where the shelter is located? How many have been to the Macomb County Animal Shelter? How many have volunteered recently at the shelter? I'm ashamed to say that until recently, over the last 6 or 7 months that I've been volunteering, I had never been to the county shelter. I started wanting to volunteer prior to COVID, but all of that came to a halt. I was so happy when I received the email about upcoming volunteer orientation. Since that time, I have volunteered at the shelter literally almost every day for the last 6 to 7 months since orientation, including weekends and holidays. When I'm there, I'm usually there 2 to 4 hours on any given day. I only missed a few days in the past 6 months or so, and only if I was out of town. My main focus is on the dogs. Don't get me wrong, I'll do anything or help in any way, because until you witness what I have over the last few months, you would better understand and not only reinstate any funding of positions lost, but you would add more funding and add more positions. I usually start to ramble on because of my passion for things that are important to me, but I'm not going to this time. I'm going to stick to the subject. This is about finding out the facts before seeing a number on a piece of paper and making a decision that affects not only the employees, but all of the living creatures in their care. Before volunteering here, I remember catching myself thinking, what the hell does animal control do all day? Driving home down Gratiot, going to Richmond, I would see deer and other creatures laying all over the road. Well, now I know why the dead deer are laying in the road sometimes weeks on end. Spend a day volunteering with me, and you'll know why too. This is about the grants and the grant writing, fundraising, licensing, donations, and all of the other important functions the staff of the animal control do. The more you pile on the staff, the less care the animals will receive and the less funding they will receive. I know we are better than that. Tomorrow is Thanksgiving, and we gather with family and give thanks for everything we have in our lives. These employees, these people behind me, they are the only ones taking care of these animals in small cages who have no one in their lives but them, the staff. That's the one positive these animals see every day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. I'm almost done. Before making your decisions, may I ask that you table your matter until after the holidays. That would give you each of ample time to work a volunteer shift at the animal shelter with me. I go every day, but would prefer to meet you on a Saturday or Sunday morning, first thing at 7 a.m. Better yet, I'll be there tomorrow morning for Thanksgiving to share my Thanksgiving with the animals. Speaking from the heart, I have no idea what these employees are paid that work at the animal shelter, but I can tell you that it's not even close to being enough. I've been around long enough now to see the love, kindness, and compassion that the staff has for all of the animals in their care. They are not doing this job for the money or the benefits. I can see it in each and every one of the staff members. Please table this matter until each of you have had the opportunity to come volunteer at least one time with me and come and witness the controlled chaos at the shelter. My understanding is that the funds we are talking about are minuscule in the grand scheme of things. And to hear what you want to use the funds to do a feasibility study on a new building, I can tell you they need a new building.
Thank you. Your time's expired, sir. You can come back and speak at the end of the agenda if you'd like.
Okay.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to be heard?
Good afternoon. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak today. I'm Carlin. I'm the HR director here for Macomb County. I'm here today asking you if you would please reconsider the elimination of the budget for the More Than a Job campaign and also for the decrease in the countywide training budget. The More Than a Job campaign was launched in August. I shared with you about it in my presentation to you in my budget meeting, and Commissioner Kraft indicated that the proposal to eliminate was based on departments having their own advertising budget. The More Than a Job campaign is nothing like an advertising budget. More Than a Job promotes and educates our community about who we are, what we do, career opportunities that are available here, as well as the numerous and often unknown departments that make up Macomb County. Since we launched the program back in August, our views on our career opportunities page has increased by 187%. We have 32,000 more views compared to this time frame last year. We've seen an increase of 162% of users to our site. That's 18,000 more users compared to the same time frame last year. Our applicant pool has increased by 1,200 applicants compared to the same time frame last year. We are in a battle right now for talent, and we are doing that with every other county and every other employer in the state. And eliminating this program will be a setback for the incredible progress that we have made so far in just a few months. In addition to that, I ask that you would also not cut the $100,000 from our countywide training fund. This fund is dedicated to continued development of all of our employees across the entire county. Our annual training initiatives include things such as leadership training. We have had over 300 of our county leadership attend management training, which is a year-long training program in which we focus on things such as labor law, workplace safety, managing employees, understanding county practices, mental health first aid. We look at developing soft skills such as how to develop teams, how to communicate better, and develop our own leadership styles. We're in the middle of a multi-year program that we've been dedicating to the employees to improve our conversations. Our program has been developing cross-cultural communication skills, navigating difficult conversations, and we are teaching employees how to optimize communication so that we are better able to work with each other and service the community. And we continue to offer courses to our employees that are needed, such as Narcan training, stress management, technology skills, time management skills, and the list goes on and on. I ask you to reconsider your actions to not eliminate $100,000 from the countywide training program. This cut will significantly reduce our ability to invest in our own employees here, while we are working very hard to recruit, retain, and equip our employees. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Anyone else wish to be heard under public comment? Anything on this agenda? Speaking anything on this agenda, sir?
Thank you, Chair Brown. Great to be here again, Commissioners. Happy Thanksgiving to all of you. Brian Harrison with Advisacare, based in Rockford, but serving the Macomb County area. Thank you for having our auto insurance resolution on the agenda this afternoon. Again, as we mentioned in previous meetings, we greatly appreciate your consideration for this. We do have several families here today working with other organizations in the area that are, again, here to urge that acknowledgement and acceptance. Interestingly enough, calendar year ago on Friday, we set out contacting each local county board of commissioners across all 83 counties after one of our outpatient therapy colleagues and friends in this space got Oakland and Wayne County to pass the first two. And with today's passage, should you choose to pass that, we will become now the 45th county across Michigan that does declare there needs to be some changes to the auto insurance law that was put in place to allow care to continue for some of the families that have been here again today, and families going forward in accidents as there are continuing to be a need for some revisions there. Again, I don't take up a ton of time. I know we spent a lot of time getting to know one another and chatting about things. It is our hope that collectively from a local level, we do believe these resolutions matter. I believe a commissioner at our government relations meeting we were at last week mentioned the importance of local connectivity and understanding as to what's happening. And I think for whatever reason, if we were to lose that side of our government system, I think there's bigger issues at play. So thank you for being local advocates, local voices. Thank you for being a part of the work we're all doing to make our state a better place and all the work you do locally. So looking forward to continuing conversations, and again, wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to be heard?
Thank you. Hi, I'm April Brown. I'm also with Advisacare, and thank you for putting us on the agenda today. We really do appreciate that. We have families still counting on these county resolutions. I know a lot of people think they don't make a difference, but they really do. And we appreciate your support. The families that we work with appreciate your support. As you know, it did go through, I think I talked last time about the appellate court and the Supreme Court decisions. Even though those it is in the Supreme Court now, and DIFS has ruled that anyone pre-2019 needs to be paid according to the old contract. It's still not happening. It's happening for a few people, but it's not happening for enough people. And we still, going forward, want those people to be protected post-accidents. The nice thing is, I want everyone to remember, there's a choice now, right? You don't have to choose unlimited. I can't imagine not, but you don't have to. We'll be here for questions, and we can talk again at the end, but really, we just appreciate your time and you listening. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Please step forward, and you've got 3 minutes.
You coming down? Hi, my name is Julie Nye. I am a case manager for Arcadia Home Care and Staffing. This is Donna Mars. I've had the pleasure of overseeing her care for 21 years shortly after her life-altering accident that occurred. We service clients all across the United States. We've been in business for over 45 years. We work with payers that include Medicaid, VA, work comp, long-term care, private pay, and auto insurance. We have a presence in over 30 states, and we are part of the family of Addis family of companies. Does anyone here know somebody personally that has been catastrophically injured? Our company helps approximately 30 clients across the state, and in our tenure, we have helped care for hundreds of catastrophically injured people. We do greatly appreciate the reforms and the attempts by our state legislators to lower auto insurance costs, but as a result of the 2019 Auto Insurance Reform Act, unfortunately, given our conversations with the state legislators since February of 2021, home health care was not thought of when constructing these reforms, and some of these changes to the law have had devastating and unintended consequences. As a result, home health not being considered in the reform, a sweeping and devastating reimbursement change was initiated for services that were not covered by Medicare. These services include hourly home health aid and hourly nursing care, services similar to Medicaid waiver. These services are one that sustain the life for these victims. We help them with their personal needs, making food for them, keeping their lives in order and their spaces clean, allowing them to remain in their home and with their families, and having some semblance of normalcy in their drastically post-accident world. Donna would not be able to survive inside her home without care.
You have 30 seconds.
Okay. We are asking that you might not decide that you want to vote for any particular solution, but we are asking each county to urge your state representatives and senators to promote the need for change. We do not want to undo the good that was done, but we need to make sure that the care is deliverable at a value that makes sense for home health care providers and will ensure that these clients can remain in their homes. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
And thank you, Donna.
Anyone else wish to be heard?
Good afternoon.
Hello.
And happy birthday. And I'm sure you probably know why I'm here. And my name is Donna Jones, and I've been here several times. And I pray to God every night to know for Him to place in your heart to understand what the auto no-fault change has done to many survivors. and I pray that my prayers will be answered. Tonight I have the honor to actually bring my son here with me. And I just want to let you know that the struggles that we've gone through, we were thankful enough to know that we were covered and the funds were there for us for auto no fault. Brad right now is on Medicaid, and that's the only other insurance he has, and that doesn't cover as well as auto no fault was. I did bring some brochures that was lifetime benefits for all survivors, and I will leave these here. This no longer exists, which is a shame. It has changed through me being a caregiver at home. There is only allowed of 56 hours a week to take care of my son, and we have to rely on an agency. But the agencies are closing now because of the funds. I just pray to God that you will understand, and thank you for your understanding for this time, to know that I wouldn't be here several times to fight for my son, which I fought for him for 19 years now, and it's not going to stop. And I just want to make sure he's covered for life, because I'm not always going to be here for him, and that's why I'm here today. Thank you. And I want to introduce my
Thank
son,
you.
Brad Jones. I'm sorry. And happy Thanksgiving. And I have many things to be thankful for, as for my son being still alive. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Brad Jones. I wish you all a happy Thanksgiving, and just I wish this never happened to me. You know, I graduated from Fraser High School in 2002. I went to Oakland University on a baseball scholarship in 2003. June 1st, 2003, I was in a car accident with a 1% chance to live. And it's been a long road, and I'm still struggling to make it every day. You know, just thank you for hearing my speech, and happy Thanksgiving, and thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to speak? Please come forward. You have 3 minutes.
Good afternoon, Jason Groth, First Call Home Health Care, located in Clinton Township, Michigan. Today's the day that you have the opportunity to go on the record and support Resolution 2022-9134 for the auto no fault reform. I think you've already heard the reasons why, you've seen the reasons why, and why it's so important. So my urging, and everyone else is here that supports the resolution, please make this the day that you go on record and support the victims that reside in Macomb County, the companies that are in Macomb County, because it's just not them though, but your effect and your decision and your support will show statewide. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else under public participation will speak in any item on this agenda? Anybody else under public participation on this agenda? One more time, anybody else? Seeing none, we'll close public participation. There'll be another opportunity at the end of the agenda to speak. Item number 7 are appointments. 7A, Brownfield Redevelopment Authority, executive appointments with board concurrence for 4 vacancies for 3-year terms set to expire on 9/3 of 2025. Dennis Champine, Bonnie McInerney-Slater, Brandon Jones, and Denise Pike Guzman. May I have a motion to approve?
Chair, I'll make the motion to approve all four as presented.
Is there any discussion on any of these items? Please vote.
Motion passes 13-0.
Thank you. Item 8, department recommendations. Item 8A, schedule of organizational meeting for Thursday, January 12, 2023 at 3 p.m. and a full board meeting Thursday, January 26, 2023 at 3 p.m. I need a motion to adopt.
Motion to adopt Van Sickle.
Support Haugh.
Any discussion on these dates? Please vote.
Excuse me, Chair?
Yes,
Did
sir.
you want to make audience aware of the fact that we've gone through all of these items before, had discussions on them, and now we're just voting on them because looks like we're just taking them haphazardly across?
Like you said.
I said it, right?
Yes, but all these actions that we've taken previously have been held at meetings previously this month. This is a culmination of all the previous meetings. This is an opportunity we could amend certain items on the agenda if we wish, but generally speaking, we've already had the debate and the board's made their decisions known previously. Item 9, Health and Human Services Committee recommendations. Item 9A, B, and C. Can I have a motion to approve?
Moved by Kleinfeld.
Any discussion on any of these items? Please, Commissioner Zinner.
I would ask if we could consider a change for the animal control at this time.
Well, this isn't the appropriate place to do it. We'll do it in the budget. We'll review the budget amendments there. We'll do it at that time.
Thank you, Chair.
Any other discussion on these items?
It'll be 15A.
All those, please vote on this items.
Motion passes 13-0.
Thank you. Item 10, Internal Services Committee recommendations. Item 10A, agreements with information technology and maintenance agreements for the first quarter 2023. Can I have a motion?
Motion to approve Van Sickle.
Any discussion on this item? Please vote.
Motion passes 13-0.
Thank you. Item 11, Government Oversight Committee recommendations, 11A settlement agreement with USDC case number 2-18 CV 1082. I need a motion to concur.
Motion to concur Haugh.
Any discussion on this item?
That was 10,082.
Yeah,
for the record, Chair.
10082.
Yes.
Okay.
Please vote.
Motion passes 12-1. Commissioner Song voting no.
Item 12, Records and Public Safety Committee recommendations, contract, property and site register of deeds parcel, ID analytics and track indexing, $597,000. Need a motion?
Motion by Romano to approve.
Support Van Sickle.
Any discussion on this item? Please vote.
Motion passes 13-0.
Item 13, Finance, Audit, and Budget Committee recommendations, contract with LinkedIn Corporation. Need a motion? Any discussion on this item? Please vote.
Motion passes 13-0.
Item 14, Public Service Committee recommendations, professional service task order agreement with WSP Michigan Incorporated, fiber optic communications design. Need a motion?
Actually,
All right, very good. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Okay, is there any discussion, any of those items? Please vote.
Motion passes 13-0.
Thank you, Commissioner Farrington. Item 15, ordinances. Ordinance 2022-8, FY 2023 Comprehensive General Appropriation Ordinance, and I need a motion to adopt.
Motion to adopt.
Okay. There will be some discussion on this item, I suspect. This is an opportunity to offer amendments. Commissioner Song.
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to make an amendment to the item for $300,085 to the Macomb Community Action Food Program. No change to the amount, but we want to make sure that this money is appropriated for the purchase of food for the program. My understanding is that when we passed it on Monday, it would go into supplies and services or just MCA. So I'd like to propose that we put this under the general fund appropriations other with the line item MCA food program.
Thank you. Is there support for that motion?
I'll support her motion.
Moved by Commissioner Haugh.
Chair, can I do a point of order real quick?
Please.
Going into this, people are lined up that might be doing it for amendments, but we should probably have an opportunity to speak. I don't have
Yes.
anything to say on that one.
Yeah.
But when there's an amendment out there, we should have an opportunity to address that one.
We'll do it
before.
immediately following that. That's right. Thank you,
Okay.
Commissioner. Anyone wish to speak on this amendment? We'll do our system hasn't, the new system, I think, will have better improvements to allow us to segregate these discussions. But anyone has a question on this amendment, they could raise their hand, so I would know. Commissioner Zenner.
Thank you, Chair. With this amendment, is it still going through at this time?
Yes, we're approving it, and it just would be added to the, it'll be amended and included in the document we're going to ultimately pass.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Any other discussion on this? So vote on this. We'll take these amendments one at a time. So please vote on this amendment.
Motion passes 13-0.
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Song.
Chair,
Commissioner.
I'll make the amendment for the Treasurer's Office. It's a motion to amend the budget to increase investment income revenue by $50,000 with a corresponding budget neutral increase to the Treasurer's Office General Fund contract service expenses of $50,000.
There's support for that motion?
I'll support that.
Support by Commissioner Nard.
Question,
Any
if I may?
discussion on this item? Commissioner Farrington.
Thank you, Chair. I'm just wondering, the $50,000 all of a sudden came out of nowhere. Is this based upon analysis, a trend, some hardcore information, other than just plucking 50,000 out? Not on the expense side, the revenue side.
It was supplied by the Treasurer's Office. We have Commissioner. Please.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner, for the question and the opportunity to address the board today on a proposed amendment to the Treasurer's budget. As this board may recall, and I'll be as concise as possible, when I presented the budget earlier in this process, the Treasurer had me state on the record a request for an amendment to add a collection specialist. And the fundamental reason why, and I'm not going to review the entire history of what happened, but as you recall, I went through this graphical data representing the reforms the Treasurer made all the way back to 2017 and how we had a record-breaking a number of payment plans. And so the big picture here is every year we have 3 different tax foreclosure cycles going on. And now that we're sort of in this territory of reaching record-breaking number of payment plans, there's a lot of administrative work required for that. As we work out payment plans, we have to update the foreclosure judgment with the appropriate filings to remove those properties so that they have clear title. I'm not going to repeat the entire presentation, but the bottom line is because of the administrative complexity involved in this process, we asked for a collection specialist to specialize in handling the bankruptcy filing petitions that involve the tax foreclosure process. So ultimately, the conversation was, how do you pay for this additional position? The additional position was going to be roughly $48,200. We're at a point where I think we're trying to proceed to figure out how do we address this need, critical need in the Treasurer's office. The fundamental reason why we expect to have more investment income, so that additional $50,000 to justify this budget amendment, is from the mere fact that when the finance director forecasted the investment income at the time that he was required to file that with the board, it was obviously earlier in the year. Since then, I'm sure many of you have been following the financial news, what the Federal Reserve has been doing. And so we're at a point where I think the finance director would agree with the Treasurer's office that we're going to be generating more investment income next year than originally anticipated when the budget was presented to the board early on. And so we're not sure how much more we're going to make than what Steve originally forecast, but we are confident that we're going to make more or enough to cover this $50,000. And I didn't want to put any words in Steve, and I believe he's in the room if he wants to comment.
Chair, I would like to hear from Mr. Smedo to see if he concurs with that.
Yeah, Commissioner, I agree with Mr. Biondo. I think it's reasonable to expect. We know rates have gone up a couple of times since we put the budget together. I think it's reasonable to expect the 50,000, as Joe indicated. Don't know the amount, but I think it's reasonable.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Farrington. Anyone else?
Thank you, Chair. Hi, Mr. Biondo.
Hello, sir.
Just two questions, if I may, if you have the answers. First one is, how much did this collection specialist make for us last year? Do you happen to have that number?
So when we approached HR at the beginning of this year about this need, they created this position and they recommended the starting salary. The treasurer and I just expressed the need in the business case, and HR recommended what to start the salary. And so that $84,200 was the starting salary recommended by HR and all the fringes involved with that per Dave Steitler from Finance.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the answer to the question. How much money did he collect last year? How much money was collected last year by this collection specialist?
So this is a new position.
Okay.
It doesn't exist. And so that's what we're trying to add, a collection specialist to address the bankruptcy filings that are resolved through the tax foreclosure process.
And with the economy the way it is, I'm sure that $50,000 is going to be well spent. The other question I have is, do you know how many delinquent accounts you have presently through November?
Yes, thank you, Commissioner, for the question. And so this would be the most recent cycle out of the three we're currently working on. And so these would be the 2020 delinquent taxes that we are currently in the process of foreclosing on. So when these became delinquent, this would have been March 1st of 2021. The number of delinquent parcels was 22,255. Now, if you fast forward to when we filed the foreclosure petition, which was June of this year, that number had been reduced to 4,535. And as of the end of October of this year, that number is at 3,013. And so this is the number that we hope to, as we continue through this process, working out payment plans. If we hit our bogey of 1,000, that would address 1,000 of those. And the other 2,000, we hope through our efforts to get people to pay and come in and resolve it that way without obviously going through tax foreclosure.
Thank you, Mr. Biondo. Very detailed report. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you, Commissioner Romano. Anyone else have questions? Commissioner Kleinfeld.
So what you said was the 84.2 was for a position, and this is for contract services.
Right. I think the way we're trying to address the need is to see if maybe we can contract this out. If that is feasible, that's what we want to do, working with what the board might amend the budget today. And then I would obviously report back to see how that goes.
Now, you believe the position in itself is going to increase revenues?
Well, this collection specialist would handle the bankruptcy filings, and so that function generates approximately $400,000 that gets put into the $8 million surplus that gets sent over the general fund. And so the treasurer's recommendation is, let's have a dedicated person dealing with the bankruptcy filings, because sometimes we'll have a bankruptcy filing of a commercial property. And if these people aren't entitled legally to bankruptcy protection, we want to be able to pursue that to hold the county harmless in terms of what they owe us. And so some of those cases could be quite large. In fact, I think we had $1 million bankruptcy case like that Paige Bashan would be available to maybe comment on it briefly, and certainly Frank Creech is very involved with these types of cases.
The reason I'm asking is I understand that you're showing an increase in revenue to offset the cost.
Yes.
All the departments that bring in revenue have the benefit of being able to do that, but there are departments that don't bring in revenue, and so they never have the benefit to come and show a revenue to offset the cost, so it kind of puts them at a disadvantage. So I don't tend to look at it, you know, okay, this is revenue neutral. Having said that, your department hasn't asked for a lot over the years, so I don't have a problem approving this, but I'm just going to stand up for the departments that don't have a way to generate revenue. They're just providing a service to the community because they don't have that option. And I think from what you were saying, you could also present it as we believe this dedicated position will enhance our chances of bringing in revenue as well.
Yes, there's opportunities for that to happen that we hope to leverage.
Okay, thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Kleinfeld. Anybody else on this item, this amendment? Commissioner Perna.
Joe, question. On your budget for 2022, those homes or businesses that owed taxes, was that already in your projection of income?
So the investment income would have been generated by how we handled the custody of the county funds. Typically, the so-called revenue to the county general fund, it's the surplus that gets declared, that's stable at $8 million each year. If I understood your question, maybe I did not understand. There's no change in terms of when we presented our budget to now as far as the business need for this position.
No, but the income from the taxes that are owed in your original budget, was that already included in your budget, that revenue was going to come in even though they became delinquent?
Yes, so when we work with finance and they do initial forecasts on the, you know, the collection of property taxes, you know, we're anticipated collecting roughly $145 million next year in property taxes to the county. We would agree with those forecasts. Really, the change in the investment income forecast has to do with simply the fact that the budget that Steve had to submit was earlier in the year before in our opinion, the Federal Reserve took aggressive action to deal with the inflation, core inflation reports that was sort of above what the economists were expecting earlier in the year. And so, in other words, because of the Fed interest rate hikes that occurred from when Steve submitted the budget to now, we're pretty confident that we'll be able to generate the extra money to cover this position with that line item change.
Who currently is going to your first meeting of creditors right now?
As far as
bankruptcies?
Well, typically what happens is someone will file for bankruptcy, obviously we'll be notified, and typically we'll have staff that we have to pull from other departments to do bankruptcy reviews because the department we have that Treasurer Rocca formed in 2017 is the tax reversion department. They do two things. They handle all the paperwork and administration to make sure the tax foreclosure is proper because we would never want to foreclose on someone improperly, and so that's a huge priority. And the second thing is obviously when we get these bankruptcy petitions, we have to stop collection immediately, otherwise we'll be violating the bankruptcy code, and we don't want to put the county in that kind of liability or situation. And so ultimately, Paige has been doing a lot of it. We've been getting help from Corporation Counsel, but really I think the best thing for the county and the Treasurer's recommendation is to have a dedicated person, the Treasurer's office, focused on this. Because sometimes these are big cases, like I mentioned, a commercial property. That could be potentially one file that we want to make sure we handle properly so we get that payout that the county is owed.
All right, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Perna. Anybody else have any questions on this item, on this budget amendment? Seeing none, please vote.
Motion passes 13-0.
Thank you, Commissioner. Happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you, Commissioner, or thank you, Commissioner. Any other amendments offered? Commissioner Perna?
Yes. Under B, I'd like to amend that current resolution that we discussed the other evening. That I'd like to amend the motion ordinance 2022-08 and resolution 2022-9491 to add 8 temporary office assistants to the positions authorized under the prosecutor's general fund staff, to be listed as 4 office assistants with a total salary and wage of $160,000, benefits of $12,528 for a total of $172,528. This action authorizes the positions, but it does not appropriate any additional funding. The funding has already been approved. That's my amendment.
Thank you, Commissioner. Is there support for that motion?
Support Zinner.
Any other discussion on that item by the board? Commissioner Kleinfeld.
He gets to you.
I'm looking.
Me. A couple things. We tried to get to the bottom of how to achieve this with HR, and we didn't get anywhere. Did we run this, what we're doing here, by legal, adding positions and not putting the salaries in the budget?
Yes, it's based on recommendations by our attorney.
Okay, so Steve. So have you had a chance to see this amendment?
Not with these additions. And I'm not sure how you do this without adding money to the budget. But I don't know, I haven't calculated the numbers, I haven't seen it, haven't heard about it until right now.
Haven't had a chance to calculate
Correct.
the numbers. I mean, we have absolutely no idea what we're paying.
That's correct.
What we're saying we're paying for each position.
That's correct.
which-
Well, may
Go ahead.
I? The numbers came through as a result of staff. Crystal, why don't you speak to how we arrived at the numbers that are in the motion?
Don't sit down, Steve. Make yourself comfortable.
The figures are the same for the other office assistants in that office.
Okay.
Thank you, Crystal.
So, can we give this amendment to Steve so he can read it? Do you see it? I mean, it's not up there, right? Do we have a copy we can give him?
There is a copy available.
I mean, I wrote all over mine, so I don't want to hand that one to him.
I'm not overly comfortable doing something on the fly like this,
Well,
trying
I'm
to
not
validate
asking,
numbers.
I'm not gonna, if you can't answer my question, that's fine.
Right.
I just want you to read it, and then I have a question as to what we're doing, from your perspective.
Commissioner, why don't you ask the question this way you can look at it as he's reading? Maybe you can fit that into this.
So we're adding in the appropriations ordinance, these positions as a result of that 1925 law, because other departments can use, if they have money in personnel, they can use it to hire part-time employees if they have the money because they've left positions open, correct?
My understanding of those laws is no.
Other departments.
Oh, other departments, we generally allow that to happen.
So all other
'Cause they're not
departments,
subject
generally
to
speaking, can do it.
certain
So
statutes.
this is a special law from 1925 specific to this department.
Correct.
So we're trying to rectify that. And we haven't had a lot of help in that. My question to you is, I wanted you to read this amendment, because if we approve this amendment, it says this action authorizes the positions but does not appropriate any additional funding.
I don't know how you do that. There's already a schedule in the budget ordinance that spells out all the positions and their appropriate salaries and benefits for all the positions that are signified or spelled out in those statutes. And I don't know how you do this without amending that schedule and appropriating dollars.
Well, the frustrating part of that is this has been floating out around for a little bit now. I mean, I just became aware of it later than you guys, but we've been trying to we indicated we wanted to rectify it. We've asked for help in rectifying it. He doesn't want to grow his budget. We just want to rectify this. If it doesn't apply to any other department, and I can go to Lansing and rectify it, but I'm saying for this situation right here and right now, every other department has this opportunity, and we can do something to fix it for him, and we've asked you to help us do that, and we're not getting any help on that.
We have state statutes we have to comply with.
I don't want to encroach on Steve's time, but Commissioner, this is a statute that the prosecutor has relied on in the past in the litigation that we dealt with. Because he's relying on that, he can't have his cake and eat it too. I believe that you have a number of positions that are budgeted every year at the annual meeting. Your counsel, who was up here on Monday, I believe, talked about the fact that you cannot create $0 budgeted positions. There is no way to increase the head count without increasing the budgetary allotment. I don't know how that's done. That's what I'm hearing from Steve. I often have tough time understanding him because he speaks budget speak.
I hear you on
But
he can't have his...
that's my understanding. You cannot increase head count without increasing budget. You guys are the board. You can do whatever it is that you want to do, but that's my understanding.
Here's my frustration with that. I hear he can't have his cake and eat it too. Here's my problem with that. I have voted against every position he has asked for. And this is a situation where he's asking for positions that are going to be budget neutral. And I'm asking for help. And because everybody's mad at each other, we can't get it done. And I feel like we could use ingenuity. If we got the attorneys together, they could figure out, because it is amazing to me how quickly some of these sticky situations get figured out when the attorneys are motivated to get it figured out.
Commissioner, you have an attorney who was here the other night that does work for the Board of Commissioners. That's my understanding. He said there cannot be a zero budget appropriation on this item. And so, that's
I think what he
his
said was
position.
we have to name the salaries. I don't think he said that we had to budget it. I think he said we had to name the salaries. And if I'm not mistaken, the chair is saying that he gave an okay on this.
Unfortunately, he's not here. He represented to me for certain that you would take the money from this year, you'd pull it forward to next year, and add it onto whatever you were going to appropriate for the prosecutor for this year, this upcoming year, I guess. So he was sort of talking about a carryover, is my understanding?
No.
That's-
He's talking about if next year he has open positions. He's not talking about carrying over the funds.
That's not what was represented to me. That's not my understanding.
No, Pete, would you come up? And I'll relinquish the floor in just a second. I thought you said the other night, you are not looking to take the money from this year and carry it over.
I'm not.
You're saying if you don't have positions filled next year and there's money in that budget, that you can use that money to hire part-time employees.
That's exactly what I said, Commissioner. And additionally, happy birthday, Harold. I don't have my cake and eat it too. We came in, just so the record's clear, I went into a lawsuit under the charter. Had nothing to do with this state statute, okay? This state statute has never been used in the last 5 prosecutors in this county. Over 75 years, I look back, not one time anybody had to come here to do what I had to do. My frustration level, and Commissioner, thank you for going to change the law in Lansing, my frustration level has been so disenchanted with this job because every other department can come here and get the money based on what's called the unused money, or the ones that weren't spent. It's what's in the budget, what you appropriated to me, except me.
Okay.
4 other, 5 other prosecutors didn't have to come here to do this. I'm trying. I've done everything. I brought amendments. I brought ordinance things, everything I could do to come up to you and ask, what do you want me to do?
Okay.
This resolution that was offered by Commissioner Perna was from the attorney, Peter. That's why there was 2 Petes here, and I got confused that night. But I'm only asking, look, if you appropriated the money into this budget, for those positions. I have at least the time to do what I need to do in this office. I didn't get that luxury this last time. And I know the timing, like Pete said to all of you, has to be done at the time the budget is put together. That's what I'm asking for.
All right, and then I'm just going to give an example of what I was talking about, and I'll relinquish the floor. We had a situation where a contract wasn't properly approved, even though we intended to properly approve it, and it didn't get paid out of finance because it wasn't properly approved. However, was there like $1 million spent at the jail that never came before this board and got properly approved? It was not a proper contract that was properly approved, but that money got paid out. And it seems to me when we need to try to make it happen, it happens. And so for that reason, I'm going to support this because I firmly believe that if everybody wanted to make it happen, it would happen. That's what I believe. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Well, I voted against everything else you've ever asked for. I might as well vote yes on this one.
Thank you, Commissioner. Again, this authorizes the positions so that next year, if he has available in his budget like he has this year, he can fill those positions. That's what this does, spells it out. It's an archaic law from 1925, but it's on the books, and this complies with that law, and that's what we're trying to accomplish today. Anyone else on the first round? I'll get to you in the second round. Commissioner Perna on the second round.
The other evening, when we discussed this, it was very, very clear after our counsel indicated to us what we had to do now and what we have to do at the organizational meeting. We are not, and this is not a carryover from 2022 into 2023, as the previous commissioner just spoke. This is the budget that was already approved for 2023. When there's a vacancy, he can fill that vacancy almost immediately if there are funds available, because when that employee leaves the county, that money is no longer spent. We're not paying any wages or benefits out. It just allows the prosecutor to continue to operate his office efficiently. We hashed this out for an hour the other day. I thought it was fairly clear. And I think this is the right way to move forward, because in 1925, when this law was put into place, it has never been used, and I think that all departments should be treated equally. I rest my case.
Anybody else want to comment on this motion? Seeing none, please vote.
Motion passes 13-0.
Okay, thank you. Any other amendments? Any other amendments on this? Commissioner Mai.
Thank you, Chair. If I may, I'd like to
Song,
propose an amendment to reduce the appropriations for advancing Macomb to $15,800 and increase the animal control expenditure for personnel in the amount of $84,200 to reinstate the position. I think that it's, as I repeated, myself on Monday, I think it is very important for us to support our nonprofits. But advancing Macomb has never come before us, and this appropriation is something that we could think about doing for 2023, and perhaps we could ask them to come and have that conversation with us or with the executive's office to come up with some proposals before we appropriate the $100,000 that we did on Monday.
Thank you. Does that motion have support?
So,
This will be, we'll do this individually, so we'll deal with this item now. Any discussion on Commissioner Song's amendment?
Yeah.
Commissioner Kleinfeld.
Well, you said we'll deal with this item now, but this item was two things. It was an amendment for advancing Macomb and an amendment for animal control. And what Joe's asking is, can we split them out into two different amendments?
Yes, that's two questions. That's fair. Okay, we'll split them. Take the first one then. Commissioner Song was the amount.
Sure, that's fine.
If I may, point of order, Chair, I think if you do separate them, based on what the motion that I just heard, it's a net zero amendment. So if you do.
Yeah, so that's
vote on
why I
more-
combined it,
that's
because
why
it's budget
Commissioner
neutral.
Song combined them, I believe.
Yeah.
If we could take it together, that would be ideal, because it is budget neutral.
Commissioner Sabatini, why don't you?
Yeah, so based on the amendment that I just heard, Commissioner Song is requesting to reduce the advancing Macomb motion that was made the other day in the amount of 100,000 to the number that basically is the difference for the position that the animal control was requesting for $84,200, if that's correct. Making it a net zero within the budget and not changing anything except those two items.
Thank you, Commissioners. I got it. Any other discussion on this item? Commissioner Kleinfeld, you still have the floor. Was there support? There was support.
Okay, just one real quick question. Is Crystal's not out here anymore? Kyle, our bylaws that request that somebody has to have voted in the majority to change something, does that only apply after full board, or does it apply in committee as well? And I don't even know if you supported getting rid of the animal control. I don't even remember. But I was just going to ask Barb to do that because I was thinking I couldn't do it. Huh? Oh, you did not? Did you vote for that amendment?
I didn't vote for it, but I thought this is a new amendment, so I don't know if this
Okay.
is a reconsideration.
It's also a different motion, technically.
Yes.
Okay, it's brand new. All right, that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Haugh.
Well, thank you for asking that question, because I was one that voted against eliminating the position the first time around, and I didn't know if I could second that motion or not based on that vote, but I want to remind everybody, and I'm fully in favor of the motion, I want to make that clear. What we told the chief was, build your new facility first, and then depended on workforce and need, correct me if I'm wrong, Joe, because I believe you're the one that indicated that, then come back and ask for additional resources if required. Yeah, I believe that's what was said, correct? Okay, I just want it back on the record then. I voted against reducing the head count in the first place, so I'm fully supportive of. I don't understand the merging of the two motions, but I'll let that go so that it comes out cost neutral. And Crystal's back.
Thank you. All right. Any other discussion on this item? Commissioner Zinner?
Thank you. Yes, I remember what then Chair Sabatini said. Thank you for bringing that up again, Commissioner Haugh. I thank you, Commissioner Song, for bringing this up. I think that's a perfect way to go about this. Several commissioners were, well, I guess we were in the minority, were concerned about that other situation anyway. And I have talked to the chief several different times. He's come in at the Shores meetings when I've been there, and several times, and we all know this, he uses those grants. I don't know how he could survive without the grants. And we know, he's mentioned several times how busy he is, they all are. They really need that grant person. That person is essential to running that whole thing. I think he's like 90% grants because of all the things that he does with the animals, and it really is helpful for Macomb County, the whole county. So the grant thing is really, really important in that area. So, I mean, it's important everywhere, but it's major. So I really appreciate that, Commissioner Song, and I hope that it goes through because he needs that person. And if as Commissioner Sabatini says, once the building's going, if he needs another person, which is a great thought, wonderful thought, but he's needed that person. I mean, they're down that person since COVID. So you know, they're hanging on by the edge of their fingernails here. So it's really important to pass this, I believe. Thank you very much. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Commissioner Van Sinkle.
Thank you. I agree with Commissioner Haugh that the other day when we were talking about this, we were not eliminating the position directly. We were more or less postponing it until the new building was built. The other thing is as Mr. Smeagol has indicated, that the income they're now projecting will be more. I don't know how much more, but the budget that the executive suggested is based on what the proposed income had been. And if it's going to be more, I would like to suggest that we put the position for the animal control officer back in place, but not reduce the advancing Macomb monies, because we will have more monies in the budget and from our income, and we can do both. Excuse me, the advancing Macomb money is important because we have a lot of nonprofits, and we have many people who depend on nonprofits who are maybe at the lower end of the economic scale, and I don't want to cut them out of getting help. I think it's very important that we continue to help these people. The other prong that advancing Macomb would do would be to help bring new industry and business into the county, which provides jobs, which is also good for everybody. So I would like to see the proposed amendment voted against, and a new amendment proposed for just adding the animal control officer. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioners, Finance, Smeagol, could you come up, please? Finance Director. What about that? Since the anticipated revenue will be more than what it was when the budget was set, what could we accomplish what Commissioner Van Sinkle said, that we just add that position in, and because we're going to have more revenue than what was anticipated? How would we accomplish what he wants to do today?
How would you accomplish that?
Yes.
If you put the money in, I don't know how much more investment income will be. I think it's going to be enough to cover what we talked about with the treasurer's office. Will it be enough to cover this position? I'm not exactly sure.
Okay.
But if you just add the cost, right, to the budget as adopted will be in a deficit.
But we have a fund balance, correct?
Right. You have a fund balance.
So we could pull that out of that, couldn't we?
If that's what you want to do.
Point
then
of
the budget
order,
would be balanced.
Steve, point of order, Chair. If this is a cost neutral, what's proposed would not affect, we would not have a deficit with
Correct.
what's
If what's proposed is to reduce the funding to advancing Macomb, you're correct.
We just increase the size of the pie, though, is what I'm saying.
Right. So if you add the expense without reducing some other expense or increasing a revenue, which not being able to calculate exact numbers, you could draw down on fund balance if that's what you so desire.
Thank you. Commissioner Farrington.
Thank you, Chair. I just want to weigh in on this. The courts gave us the responsibility of budgeting, and I think it's important that we remember this role both this year and years going forward. Something Mr. Smeagol, Executive Hackle, and the whole gang has to do is determine priorities. It's difficult, as Veronica will see as she goes to Michigan. There's always someone with a story why theirs is more important than someone else's. Commissioner Song presented something that's revenue neutral. In my mind, it's a yes or no. You can't have both. You know, if you want to do it, great. If you don't want to do it, great. But to sit here and go into our fund balance because the last person had a good story, please don't do that the rest of your career here. This county will be in trouble as we're budgeting. I mean, you got to make hard decisions and go forward with it, with however it is. So thank you.
Commissioner Kraft.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just real briefly, I voted no on both of these items on Monday. And I agree with Commissioner Farrington, there's no reason to be dipping into fund balance for something like this. But I would vote for this amendment. I'm going to echo what I said on Monday. We don't have a contract with Advancing Macomb. We don't know what services they would provide. We know nothing. So $100,000 is a massive amount for hopes and dreams. And I know we would work with them in the future to possibly get a contract together. But I'm supportive of this amendment. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Commissioner Sabatini.
Thank you, Chair. I did listen to public comment, as we all did. Just to clarify a couple things. We did not defund this position, just to be clear. This personnel line item actually increased by 7%. And I did state in regards to what Commissioner Haugh was saying during committee that I think the intention of this amendment was to see what the needs were of the facility, which is tagged right now in our capital improvement fund at $15 million. My concern is that, what are the true needs of the animal control facility, and there probably will be more needs there for staff. Even looking at this budget over the last 3 years, we've actually increased expenses by 29%. So it's not that we are not supporting the animal control. We are truly supporting the animal control. Now, when we obviously go through 20-some budget amendments, we have to make decisions individually. That's why I like to personally do it that way, so we can have a discussion individually. But I do like what Commissioner Song is proposing here, because she's looking at what was initially approved the other day, and she's finding money within the actual budget that would be theoretically cost neutral. So in that opinion, I did support the decrease of the personnel, and I did support the decrease. Well, I didn't support the Advancing Macomb. So long story short is I would support this motion because it does identify money going specifically towards one of our departments rather than looking to Advancing Macomb and seeing what that agreement would even look like in the future. So Commissioner Song, thank you for making the amendment. I think it makes sense. And if there are any other commissioners that are going to speak about it, I'd like to hear their opinion too. Thank you, Chair.
Commissioner Haugh.
Thank you,
Commissioner
Chair.
Haugh, excuse me.
You're after me this time. I just wanted to point out that I believe the city of East Point and the city of Roseville have contracted with animal control to pay for these services. I definitely do not want to see the services from animal control go down after we've already signed a contract and paid for them. And I want to thank Commissioner Farrington for your wise words over there. Those were the words I used exactly 3 days ago. The pie is only so big, and priorities are what is essential here. So that's all I have, Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Haugh. Commissioner Kleinfeld.
Thank you, Chair. Steve, from the end of this year till the projected the end of next year, what's the change in the fund balance? I'm going to support this, by the way, because I agree with everything Commissioner Kraft said.
As it stands today, it would be a surplus of $39,910.
From this year to next year?
That's the budgeted surplus as we stand here right now before this amendment. $39,910.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. I don't see any other commissioners on the list to speak. Please vote on the amendment.
Motion passes 12-1. Commissioner Vansickle voting no.
Okay, thank you. Any other amendments? Any other amendments? Seeing none, I need a motion to adopt the amended ordinance for 2022 2 FY08. Please.
Yes. Oh, yes. We don't have the ones added in that were just made. Okay, how long will it take? 15 minutes. Do you want to recess?
Okay.
Move to the next item?
Okay. Without objection, we're going to move to the next step. So we have to amend the document with the proper amendments we've just added to this resolution, so we've got to amend that. So once they'll be done, probably about 15 minutes. So we're going to go on to the other items. We have to approve that this is a fluid document. We have to have a document to give you to adopt officially. So we'll go to next item 16. We'll all talk slowly. Item 16A, resolution urging the state legislature to amend Michigan Auto Fault Insurance Reform Act. Need a motion to approve? Any discussion on this item?
I would like to hear Commissioner Kleinfeld speak. That way you can stall us for a while. Go ahead. I had to say, she's driving me home, by the way.
Oh. Commissioner Kleinfeld, you have the floor.
No, I'm going to be rather quiet since I'm going to be the one with the feet to the fire when I go to meet with the other senators on this issue. Thank you.
But we're going to support you, Commissioner Kleinfeld. We'll be right behind you. Commissioner Song.
Thank you, Chair. Well, I'd love to hear from our friends. They've been here every single month, and if we don't adopt this, they're coming back in December, just so you guys know. But the good news is...
I think it's going to be approved. It'll be approved at the committee unanimously.
Absolutely, and I want to thank all of you guys for being here. I know it takes time out of your day if you're still working or if you're not in Macomb County. You guys have been making the trek here, so I truly appreciate that. And I wish all of you all the best. Happy Thanksgiving. Happy birthday, Harold. 21 now, right?
I told Joe 40.
I did hear a report from Mears that the new legislature was potentially going to take up the Auto Reform Act. So I imagine that it will probably happen, very shortly here. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Song. As a point of information, I've got a personal affinity to this issue because when I was 16 years old, I was driving down a dirt road near my neighborhood, and I got involved in an accident, and I hit a tree. The van was totaled, and I had my last rites read to me twice, and a 6-month stay in the hospital, and it took me a year to rehabilitate. I still have effects from my closed head injury that I had. So, but I'm just saying, I'm not dizzy. My equilibrium's a little bit off, right? But still to this day. And some say the rest of my thinking, but depends on who you talk to. But anyway, I understand the importance that the care that this gives. And I can't say it, and I've been an advocate pushing this along with our political allies in the Lansing to try to make those changes. And we haven't done it yet, but we got a new deck dealt up there in Lansing. And so maybe they'll be able to get through the insurance lobby in a little bit better way. But I can't say enough about the need to reform this legislation from my own personal experience and people I've come into contact with through this whole debate over the last 4 years. So, and I commend all of those people that took the time and the effort to get up here and make the how difficult it is physically to even get up here and do that, let alone to maintain the composure to give the testimony that they need to offer their heartfelt compassion. And why it hasn't been done to date, I don't know, but good things will be done. It was well intended. It's all well intended, but they just need to fix it. And they can fix it without having everyone go bankrupt. They got a lot of money in a fund that hasn't been audited that we give to them. That's maybe something else they could do while they're up there, Commissioner Kleinfeld, when you're senator up there, to get to audit that insurance fund.
Good luck with that.
Yeah, I know, you guys have tried. So, easy for me to say as I'm sitting on the bench. But anyway, I just want to say a heartfelt congratulations on this approval, and with God's will, it'll be passed. we can all have, everyone can have a bigger sigh of relief with their families. To rest assured that when they go, someone's looking after their kid. So, anyway. Anybody else want to say something to fill time?
Chair,
Commissioner
I don't
Zinner.
think, we haven't had a chance to get to this, but we have 2 birthdays here today. Commissioner Farrington has a birthday also today.
Oh.
Are you 40 also?
We knew they were the same.
Yes.
We've celebrated a few times together.
Very good. Well, very good. Is there any, so what do you guys, and Commissioner Kleinfeld?
Just, I don't think we should be so naive to think that the rates won't go up, because any change is an opportunity for companies to raise rates. We've seen that before, so I think
Well-
we should know that that is probably going to happen. Thank you.
Thank you. Nothing, you get nothing, can't get anything for free though either, so I mean, I'm happy to do my part to pitch in. If I gotta pay a few dollars more, I can afford it, and I'm happy to do it, to keep up.
Point of clarification, Chair, can we just go easy, call the chair until the document's ready?
I guess we could filibuster.
No reason to, that's my
We'll
point.
call adjournment until the document's prepared. Thank you, Commissioner Farrington. We're in adjournment till I call it back. Don't go far. We're calling the Board of Commissioners back into session. We have a motion on the floor to approve the Resolution 16A on the auto no-fault reform. We have a motion and support. Please vote.
Motion passes 13-0.
Very good. Motion passes. You're good to go.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Yep. Item 16B is a resolution deeming prosecutor training positions necessary to fix salary system. The resolution 2022-9491. Need a motion on that one? Support by Nard.
Zinner.
All those in favor, say, or please vote. Oh, question.
Now that we have done what we did today, does that have to be added?
Yes, because it's a.
Can we, that resolution is not tied to the budget. Can we fix that and vote on that later? Because it's not needed to do what we needed to do today. It was sort of random that it was put in front of us this week, in my opinion.
It's up to the will of the committee.
Actually,
yes, yeah, yes. All right, please vote. Thank you. Item 17 is public participation. Anyone from the public wish to be heard on any subject?
Motion passed 13-0.
Mr. Chair.
I'm assuming.
Point of order, we haven't voted on the budget ordinance either.
We're waiting on it.
Oh, we're gonna go.
We're just accommodating the public, so if they want to. How about anybody from the executive office staff? Got any stories? Got any stories? Yeah, Commissioner, okay.
A little birdie told me that there's another birthday hanging on. Monday will be Commissioner Sabatini's birthday, so happy birthday to all the birthday.
40 also. Yay. People being 40.
Okay.
I think nothing happy birthday at any commissioner's comments, for the 3 of them.
Any other commissioner comments? Anything? Okay.
Chair, what are we waiting on?
We're waiting on the document to be.
I thought
copies
Kyle had
of, to provide you all copies so you know what you're voting on. They approved it. Stand by.
Read it over Thanksgiving, is that it?
We got to have some for the record.
Christmas carols all the way.
Trying to make conversation here.
Or we could come in tomorrow.
Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday
to you. Happy birthday, dear Harold, Jeff, and Joe. Happy birthday to you. Are you two? Are you three? This is the one my kids sing. Happy birthday to you.
See if it's been added there, because they changed the resolution that we just voted on. So we voted on the newest version.
Yeah, all right.
So I think that they've added it.
Yeah, we're good. I'll go check.
It's in the attachments, Chair. Chair Brown.
What's that?
It is in the attachments.
Yes.
Yes.
So we're ready to go. They just didn't tell us.
All right. Commissioners' comments? Okay. Going back to item 15A, we had a motion made and supported, correct? So please vote.
Motion passes 13-0.
Very good, thank you. Item 18, Commissioner comments. Anybody, any more comments?
Oh, my gosh.
Commissioner Kleinfeld.
First of all, I just want to say, Commissioner Haugh, I don't appreciate that 1925 law that you put into place.
It was supported by Commissioner Barrington.
Happy birthday and happy Thanksgiving. That's all I have. Thank you.
Very good, thank you. Happy, y'all have a blessed Thanksgiving, and we'll see you on the other side of the week, not the life. All right, any other comments? There's been, what? Who said move to adjourn?
Who said that?
Oh! Please vote.
Getting risky
Happy
now.
Thanksgiving, everybody.
Happy
Motion approved, thank you. Everyone have a great week. Be safe.
Whoa.